Some are okay. Some can be weird. I'm neutral about them.
As long as they're not doing it for shipping purposes only, then they're fine.
Pretty cringe in my opinion, with the exception of spider sonas.
They can work as long as they're not overpowered and don't stick out an unreasonable amount compared to canon characters.
We'll support unless they pull a they're super strong, even stronger than the main character thing. I feel like that's just ugh.
If they aren't painfully OP, problematic in any way, or if they fit seamlessly into the setting, then I'm chill with it.
As long as it isn't too over the top or too cringy, it's fine with me.
So what you just saw were comments on a post I made a few days ago asking people how they felt about self-insert OCs. For those of you who don't know, an OC stands for original character, and in this case, a character created to be inserted into an existing franchise or series. A self-insert is an OC that is a reflection of its creator, often created in their image or as a better idealized version of themselves. Mix those two together and you have an OC who essentially is just the creator, but inside of the universe they're being inserted into. They are most commonly, but definitely not always, created by younger beginner artists, which is why they've developed a reputation for being weird, cringe, uncreative, and just generally bad practice for creating characters. Like I said, I asked you guys a few days ago what you thought of self-insert OCs, and some comments that stood out to me were,
I don't like self-inserts, period. They always feel like a cheap way to make an OC, and also usually feel incredibly one-dimensional, shallow, and are just uncomfortable for me to look at art of or hear about.
as well as the incredibly helpful,
Hell no.
So I think that a handful of you are going to be surprised to know that I have several self-insert OCs. And I don't mean self-insert characters that I made years ago that I used to use and I have since grown out of. I mean, I have many current, still updating and changing self-insert OCs, many of whom are inserts into series like My Hero Academia and Five Nights at Freddy's, and I bet many of you do too. And if you don't, that's okay. If you're not into stuff like that, you know, there are other art channels out there, right? I'm here to do what I want, and this is what I want to do, alright? The only reason I'm still here making art for you guys today is because some franchises inspired me so much that I just had to insert myself into it. And is that self-absorbed and a little egotistical? Absolutely 100%, I'm not even going to question it. But it's just how I've grown as an artist. It's the art I choose to make, and it makes me happy. So today in this video, I'm going to try and talk to you a little bit about why I personally think self-insert OCs are important, not only to us individual artists, but the art community as a whole, what it's done for me personally, and I'm also going to be a little bit self-indulgent today and show you one of my self-insert OCs. So let's get into it. While I'm editing this and recording the voiceover, I haven't made the thumbnail yet, but I'm assuming I put something alluding to My Hero Academia in it, because this self-insert OC is from My Hero Academia. I created the first instance of them back in, I think, 2020, which was about a year after I got into the show in 2019. It was the height of the pandemic, and I was bored. I had always been making self-insert OCs for things I was interested in. Like when I was a kid, I made a My Little Pony OC that was just supposed to be me, but an alicorn. And for me, like a lot of other people, making self-inserts is a bit of a coping mechanism. And 2020, like many of us, was the lowest point in my life. So I coped by making a Boku no Hero Academia self-insert OC. Art is an outlet for many people, and so the type of art that people make, including self-insert OCs, is also an outlet. And I feel like that's important to remember. Like, we're not doing this to be cringe, we're doing it because we like it. it makes us feel better a lot of the times, and when I felt powerless, I made a version of myself who was powerful. And I think powerful is a little bit of an understatement, because my OC is one of the many cringe ones who is too overpowered, insanely overpowered. I couldn't decide on a quirk to give them, so I didn't give them one. They just have a bunch of different powers. I don't know. This is a character who I've kept pretty close to my chest for a while now. Only a few friends knew about it, and now I am sharing it with my audience of over 30,000 people. So I know that now I have a lot of people who are watching me and looking up to me and looking to me for advice, which is a little bit scary, but I felt like in the early stages of my channel, like I'm in right now, I felt it was important to let the people know who are watching me, who look up to me, that it's okay to make stuff that's cringe. Like, I understand that my overpowered self-insert My Hero Academia OC is cringe, but it's what makes me happy, and I feel like you need to make stuff that makes you happy without the fear of it being called weird or cringe. My character is a Mary Sue, and I am fully embracing that, and they're really important to me. One reason I think that making cringe OCs and weird art and stuff like this is really important to development of artists like me is that it's freeing. I am making this art for myself, and when you make art, it is important that first and foremost, it's for you. It's your skill, and you need to do what you want with it. As someone who I guess can now call myself a content creator, there's a fine line that I now walk in the art that I make for my videos and the art that I make for myself, and the pieces that I do in this video are ones I made specifically for this video, but I also just hadn't drawn this character in a really long time because I've been making art just for YouTube, and I was afraid that you guys would think that this is cringe. And I feel like a lot of other artists feel similarly. They're afraid to share things like this because they're afraid that it's gonna be weird or cringe, or they're gonna lose the respect of their audience. But this is my 5th video now, I think, and so I have not been posting for very long, and so you guys don't know me very well, but I think that early on it's important to establish that, like, yeah, I do make weird art like this. I have a lot of self-insert OCs. The one I'm drawing in this video is far from the only one, and I wanted you guys to see that side of me, the side of me that doesn't just redesign characters. I make my own characters, and they're weird like this. Sorry if I fooled you into thinking that this was a sort of video essay, when this is really just me talking about my feelings and my stupid little OCs. But I hope you stick around. I have more weird, stupid OCs like this, and I hope to show you guys them soon. Okay, now we're in the part of the video I was excited about, because this is just going to be me talking about my OC. So I put all the important stuff in the first part of the video if you clicked on this video because you thought that it was going to be a video essay about the importance of self-insert characters. That was in the first half of the video. I don't know how you got here, but if you can go back to the first part of the video if you're looking for that. As you saw in the first piece, this character's name is also Lucky. They actually went by Lucky before I went by Lucky, so this was the original. During the time the My Hero Academia manga takes place, Lucky is already an adult and already a pro hero. They work part-time as a sidekick at All Might's agency as a hero called Cyber, and they got these cool-looking mecha parts that took me way too long to draw. Like I said, I don't have a specific, like, name for this power that they have. I don't know what their quirk is called, but one of the powers that they do have is, like, light manipulation. I don't know. They can create weapons and shields and things all out of light. You'll actually see that in a second at the end of the speed paint. And Cyber is like a close range fighting hero. They use their clawed gauntlet thingies to attack close range, things like that. In their original design, they had more of a cat motif to go with the clawed gauntlets. They had like a mechanical tail, they had cat ears, things like that. But I took them out for this redesign, I guess, because it's been a while since I've drawn them, so this was a redesign. The second character in this piece is also still Lucky, and still at the same time. Like I said, Cyber only works part-time, and when they're not acting as Cyber, they're acting as the Starry Night hero, Cure Comet. Cure Comet's real identity is completely shrouded in mystery. Nobody knows where they came from. They always disappear into the shadows after saving the day. Nobody knows what their deal is. And if you're familiar with the franchise Pretty Cure, which is a magical girl franchise, then you might recognize the naming conventions I've used, because Cure Comet is a magical girl. They can transform. They have a whole transformation sequence that I might animate one day, and that's how they hide their identity as this whole other hero. Cure Comet is a top hero. They're very respected, but they're quite new when the manga is taking place. They've only been on the scene for a few months or so, maybe 6 or 7 months tops. Whereas at the beginning of the story, Cyber has been working as a hero for 4 or 5 years now. As you might be able to gather from this piece, Cure Comet is insanely powerful, like to a frightening degree. Almost on the level as All Might, who is very important to their story. During the day, Cyber works as All Might's sidekick, but during the night, Cure Comet and All Might are like friendly rivals. And the two of them went to school together. You may have seen at the beginning, in the beginning speed paint, I drew Lucky in their school uniform, and that was them during their time at UA, where they were in All Might's class. The two of them were really good friends. They hung out all the time, but they had a falling out when All Might went to college in America, so they hadn't seen each other in a few decades, and then Lucky comes back, and they're like, oh my goodness, wow. This video isn't scripted, can you tell? Spoiler alert, Cure Comet and All Might are having a very scandalous love affair. I mean, neither of them are cheating on anybody, but it's still very scandalous because these are two of the top heroes, and they're involved with each other? Oh my goodness, the drama! So yeah, my little OC checks off all the boxes. They're self-insert, they are a Mary Sue, they're overpowered, and they're shipped with a canon character. I imagine in some alternate universe where Lucky is actually a canon character in My Hero Academia, they wouldn't be very important in the first or second season. But in the third season, which is a very All Might heavy season, I imagine that they would become a little bit more important. This is so stupid. I won't get into all the logistics of the story because I don't think any of y'all want to hear about that. This was just me showing you my self-insert OC as a little bit of a gift to myself, and also to show you guys how weird some of the stuff I make is. You can tell what tropes I like based on Lucky's story. I obviously like friends to lovers, rivals to lovers, forbidden love, stuff like that. And this character is just really indulgent for me. It's one of my guilty pleasures, and I had a lot of fun showing them to you guys. Before any of you in my comment section go, Lucky, you like All Might? That's the one you want? You want to kiss All Might? Yes. Yes, I do. What are you going to do about it? He doesn't have any friends. He needs some friends. So my character, I just made them to be All Might's friend. That's in quotation marks. They're friends, okay? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Do you get the idea? So please don't ask me if I prefer buff All Might or skinny All Might. Both of them. You can't You can't just like one. That doesn't make any sense. You can't just pick one. Anyways, so in the sketch I'm working on right now, you might pick up on the fact that they are a little bit inspired by the Raiden Shogun from Genshin Impact, who, other than All Might, is my favorite character of all time. I had a lot of fun showing you guys my OC. I really hoped you liked it. If you couldn't tell, this was definitely more of a personal video for me. I feel very strongly about self-insert OCs, and I want to hear what you guys think about this type of video in the comments. I had a lot of fun making this video, and I know it's kind of niche, so I don't expect it to reach a lot of people, but if you did make it to this point, I really appreciate you sticking around. This was really important to me. It was one of the first video ideas I came up with, actually, so I'm glad to have finally made it. I think that's gonna be it from me. So I have been Inkyo, and I will see you very soon.